Bonjour. The purpose of this video is to help you with your homework. In the Chemins 2 workbook, section 5B.2, page 244, you have a mise en pratique that's making you practice I and on. So as you remember, I replaces a previously mentioned place that begins with the prepositions à, chez, dans, en, and sur, right? And on, where are we? En replaces a previously mentioned phrase that begins with de, du, de la, des. All right, so with that in mind, let's go to the homework. So your homework exercise actually looks like this, but I've copied the text into a Word document. Sorry. So, histoire médicale. Vous êtes à l'hôpital? Sorry, we're going to change this to French so that we don't have all these red underlines. That's much better. Okay. And you know why there's a blue underline here? Because in French, you actually need a space between an exclamation point or a question mark. All right. So anyway, histoire médicale, vous êtes à l'hôpital où on vous pose des questions sur votre santé. So say you don't understand that. What should you do? You should copy and paste it into Google Translate to at least make sure you understand the directions. So medical history, you're at the hospital where you asked questions about your health. Utilisez les pronoms I et en dans vos réponses. So use the pronouns I and en in your responses. So I'm going to go through the first few with you just to make sure you understand what we're doing. So in this sentence here, you see the word de, and you know that means you are going to be using en, right? Because en replaces a previously mentioned phrase that begins with the word de. So we're going to be replacing des allergies, okay? And they're talking to you and they're using vous, and you're going to answer using je, right? So you know you're going to say je, and you know that the verb that's being used is avoir. So normally you would be saying j'ai. So how would you say I have some of them or I have some? Remember that pronoun en goes right before the conjugated verb. So you're going to say j'en ai, j'en ai. Okay? J'en ai. What if you don't have allergies and you want to say I don't have any? You're going to say je n'en ai pas. Je n'en ai pas. Ne, we make that green. And pas, we can make that green. And we have our en, we're going to make, just en, we're going to make that red. Okay, does that make sense to you? Je n'en ai pas. J'en ai. Je n'en ai pas. Those are your answers. Next question. Êtes-vous allé aux urgences cette année? So this here is the word we need to be paying attention to. What is au? Au actually refers to a previously mentioned idea that starts with à or chez or dans. Remember we saw those prepositions. So this is the phrase we're going to be replacing. Êtes-vous allé aux urgences cette année? So have you been to the emergency room this year? And what verb are we using here? That's the verb être. So you know you're going to be using some form of je suis because you're answering about yourself and you use je, right? And what are we going to be replacing this with then? We're going to be replacing those words with I. And where does I go? I goes right before the conjugated verb. J'y suis allé. J'y suis allé. It's in the passé composé. J'y suis allé. How would you say I am going there now? You would say j'y vais, right? J'y vais means I'm going there now. Why do we have suis if it's in the passé composé? Oh yeah, aller is one of those verbs in the maison d'être, and we use être. Okay, allez-vous chez le médecin régulièrement? Allez-vous chez le médecin régulièrement? So what are we looking for? Chez le médecin. That is a place, sort of. I didn't mean to highlight that. That is a place. I really, really didn't mean to highlight that. So that is the thing we're looking for, and it's going to be chez le médecin. What are we going to replace it with? We're going to replace it with I, right? So you're going to say j'y vais régulièrement or assez régulièrement. J'y vais régulièrement. J'y vais régulièrement. Okay, let's do number 4. Combien de? Do you see that little de in there? De lets us know that we have to answer using en. And we also remember that en can mean of them. And this is, how many aspirins do you take a day? And you're going to say, I take 2 of them. All right? So we see this de, and we know we're going to replace that expression with en. So you're going to say, j'en prends, I don't know, 3 ou 4 par jour. I take 3 or 4 per day. How do we get to prend? How do we know to use prend? Because we said prenez-vous. They're asking you, how many do you take? And you're going to answer for je. You're going to conjugate prendre for je. All right, I think that gives you enough information to do section 1. Let's look at this section down here, which was, sorry, that was actually, come to think of it, that was section 2, and this is section 3. Chez le dentiste, Madame Han amène ses 2 fils chez le dentiste pour la première fois. So Madame Han brings her 2 sons to the dentist for the first time. Complétez le dialogue entre le dentiste et les 2 garçons. Utilisez les pronoms I and on. All right? So you should just imagine the dentist is talking to the kids, and the kids are going to answer using je, right? Doesn't that make sense? So c'est la première fois que vous allez chez le dentiste. That is a place, okay? Or it is an expression that begins with one of those prepositions that we mentioned. We know we're going to end up using I, okay? So the kid is going to answer, oui, c'est la première fois que j'y vais. But the kid might be answering for him and his brother. So maybe he's going to say, c'est la première fois que nous y allons. And I think, oops, there doesn't need to be a thing there. I hope this gives you enough information to be confident on this homework assignment. That's the